is...
Christopher Lee and Geddy Lee were married.
I know. They would be the oddest couple ever. Christopher Lee's all spooky and Geddy Lee's like, ah!
But they both have albums of hard rock material.
Hey, Maniacs.
Hey, Maniac.
It's Midsomer Maniacs.
Midsomer Maniacs is a podcast dedicated to the ITV series Midsomer Murders. Each week, we dig into an episode of the show, including the murders, the mayhem, the loonies, and everything else we love.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Mark.
This is episode 38 of Midsomer Maniacs.
Orchis Fatalis.
Yes.
Not Orchid Fatalis.
No.
Orchis Fatalis.
Orchis Fatalis.
Just a warning off the top, if the show is too much for your kids, the podcast probably is too, and we're going to talk about some naughty stuff today. So
there's a lot of naughty stuff in this episode.
Yeah.
Whether it's necessary or not, I'm not sure.
What's talked about? I don't know.
It referred to naughtiness.
There's a lot of referred to naughtiness. There's no naughtiness on screen.
No. Okay, so before we dive in, a couple things off the top.
We have 20,000 downloads.
That's amazing.
Thank you all so freaking much. That's insane.
It's so crazy to me that many people are listening, but I'm so happy that they are.
So I looked into how to tell if your podcast is successful.
Yeah.
Yep. And I found an interesting stat. 20,000 downloads is weird because you could have one episode with $10,000 downloads that went viral and then 15 episodes that have like 50 each.
Right. And that wouldn't be successful. That one episode might be, but the show in general wouldn't be.
Oh, and first of all, I want to say right off the top, we consider what we've done incredibly successful.
Oh, yeah.
Like, thank you all so much. Like,
way beyond anything we expected.
I cannot believe this, how the year has changed. Because of this. If a new episode that you have within 30 days, this is a good metric. I like this metric because it shows you're releasing new episodes.
And within 30 days of the release.
Within 30 days, you have a certain number of listens. It tells whether or not where you are in the hierarchy of podcasts.
Okay.
Now, somewhere in the neighborhood of 70,000 podcasts are released monthly on Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
episodes or new shows?
New shows.
Okay.
Episodes.
Episodes of shows. Okay.
70,000 podcasts, which I didn't think was as much as I thought it would be.
Yeah, I would have guessed a higher number.
Yeah. I'm sure it might be a higher number, and certainly more on YouTube than that.
Yeah, because there are like episodes from like Planet Money. They put something out every day.
Yeah.
So they're putting out like 30 episodes a month.
I think it's 70,000 podcasts put out at least an episode in a month.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So not 7, because I bet you there's 70,000 brand new podcasts a day. Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway.
If you have 136 downloads in the first 30 days, you are in the top 50% of podcasts.
Wow.
So immediately you take half of all podcasts and get rid of them.
Those poor people making episodes that nobody ever listens to or finds.
Yeah, find a obscure podcast and listen to it and tweet or message the creator that's saying you enjoyed it. If you did, you will make their day.
Yeah.
And if you have 1,100 downloads in a month, you're in the top 20% of podcasts.
Wow.
So how many do you think we get on average in 30 days?
I don't know.
We, on average, in 30 days, get almost 300 downloads.
That's awesome.
Which means we are somewhere in the middle.
That means every day 10 people are listening.
Yes.
That's great.
That's absolutely
super
fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I think that's actually going up.
That makes it more than worth doing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're getting somewhere in the neighborhood of between 50 and 150 views on a regular basis every day.
That's great.
Which means 2 people are downloading our podcast every hour of the day.
Which is just nutsy.
Yeah. Mostly because, like, I can see one of the podcasts I looked at, they were like, oh, we get like 1,500 views in 30 days. And I was like, well, how long is your podcast? It was 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I was like, well, of course you do. We do 4 hours a month, man. More than 4 hours. Our podcast is long. First of all, thank you for listening to all our goings on.
Shenanigans.
But yeah, like I think to be somewhere between the top 50 and the top 20% of all podcasts is absolutely stunning.
That's awesome. Because I have listened to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of podcasts.
Yeah, both of us have.
And I can say that nothing frustrates me more than finding one that is like super exciting. I'm like, wow, I want to listen to every episode of this. And then I notice that the last episode was released like 3 years ago.
They make like 6.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
And I get so sad.
I find that with comic podcasts and gaming podcasts.
Yeah.
Game development podcasts.
But it is hard to do.
It is. It's incredibly hard to do.
And I think one of the things that we did that was smart early on was we picked a topic that we had ready content for. We don't have to come up with something to talk about next week. We know what we're going to talk about next week. And that's one of the big challenges I think people run into is They just run out of content.
Yeah, content.
But Midsomer just keeps going, baby.
We have a continually growing content base.
Yes. And we're so glad that you're all here to listen, and we appreciate it. And your feedback and your comments and all that stuff matters a lot to us.
Yes, it's so important to us.
We don't make a dime off of it. We just do it because we just like doing it.
We just like doing it.
Yep.
We like sharing time with each other and with you.
Oh, especially during these trying times.
Number 2, the Midsomer official Facebook and Instagram accounts and Twitter feeds have had a thing going on that we mentioned last week.
Right.
Which was the
ultimate official top 50 episodes of Midsomer ever kind of list.
Yes. So you gave in 5 and then they compiled the list of all the people, right?
Yeah. To come up with the top 50 episodes, and they're counting them down backwards, starting at 50. Right?
Yes. And they make nice little videos on Instagram and Facebook for each. They're about 30 seconds long. It's a nice little video on each.
Cool.
So coming in at number 50. With a bullet, Dark Riders, season 15, episode 1.
The Headless Horseman.
Yep.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Then Dark Secrets at 49. That's season 14, episode 2. That's with the hoarders, the old people hoarding in the house.
They live in a stack of newspapers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
48, Second Sight, which is coming up.
Yep.
Season 8, episode 5. It's coming up for us. So we'll have to talk about that when we get to that episode. And 47 is Sins of Commission. I don't know if they're doing it on Saturday and Sunday. I would hope these people take a break. They work very hard.
But it's 50 days. So that's a lot if you don't do it on the weekends too.
Yeah.
They could auto post, I'm sure.
They could. They're very nice. The people who run all those accounts have messaged me a couple of times, and they're all super nice. And they're all super supportive of the podcast. We are not an official podcast.
No.
And they would stress that, but they sure love us. They listen to us in the office. So
that's fun.
That's fantastic. I think it's
Hello,
great.
official Midsomer social media people.
You're
we love
awesome.
you too.
Yeah. So I don't know if one got released today or not. I didn't check, but that's what we have so far this week.
I like all those episodes.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think we're going to see earlier seasons mentioned higher up on the list. The old favorites that everybody loves are in these first like 10 seasons.
Yeah, the little video for Sins of Commission had the article with the Microsoft installation text in it.
Yeah.
I mentioned that in the comments because I mentioned stuff like that.
Because you're that kind of nerd.
Yep.
All right, are you ready to dive in?
We are. This is Orchis Fatalis, filmed in July and August 2004, which is kind of nice because it's a real flowery episode. Broadcast date, the 9th of January 2005 to 8.74 million viewers. Directed by Peter Smith and written by Terry Hodgkinson.
Okay.
Now, he's quite the guy.
Terry Hodgkinson?
Yes.
How so?
Well, for one thing, he came up earlier this week because he wrote an episode of Lovejoy called The Axeman Cometh.
Isn't there a Midsomer called The Axeman Cometh?
Yes. There's they
with
both
the rock band.
Yes, that is the rock band.
Yeah.
But in the Lovejoy episode, there is a guy carrying an axe.
Not a guitar axe.
And there's a tax lady.
Oh.
Like there's a play on the whole play on the words here. And it's interesting because he's quite the interesting cat. In the Midsomer magazine, talks about how he went to Spain at one point to earn a living, and he got jobs working on movies, spaghetti westerns, doing English translation. And through that, he met Salvador Dali and became pretty good friends with Salvador Dali.
What did Salvador Dali have to do with spaghetti westerns?
He did like paintings and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And production design. And,
okay. I didn't know that.
It's famous people in Spain. Barcelona,
Barcelona.
It can't be all that big. But he picked up his wife in the best way possible.
Picked her up? You mean met her?
Both.
Okay.
He was going to Salvador's for drinks. And he saw this fine-looking young lady hitchhiking. And he stopped the car and he said, "Would you rather come to Salvador Dali's house for a drink instead of where you're going?"
That's a pretty good pickup line.
It's a pretty good pickup line. And she said yes. And
I can take you where you're going, or you can come with me to Salvador Dali's house.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He also wrote Electric Vendetta.
Oh, we like that episode.
So he wrote this episode and Electric Vendetta and a bunch of Lovejoys, and then he just stopped. Well, Lovejoys before this, but...
Speaking of conspiracy theories this week, I got to say, I am really sick and tired of news outlets picking up conversation about Midsomer that fans share all the time and running it like it's news.
Okay.
Hey, Midsomer viewers joke that Joyce is the real killer. This is world-breaking news. No, it's not.
I think this...
Link bait?
I think that the newspaper is called The Telegraph, right?
Oh, but The Guardian ran something too, and it was like 5 newspapers who ran stories.
It's definitely picked up by The Wire in England, filled in content. And it's like some guy on Reddit said Jar Jar Binks was in
Midsomer.
And it's like... That's not news, and that's not the fan base.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to run a story, give us something that we don't know.
Yeah.
To try to generate a headline out of fans are talking.
And it's tough because sometimes they do. When John Nettles talked about how he left
Midsomer because he didn't want to be the oldest TV detective.
That's news.
That was an insight that I had never heard him say before.
But there's been one about that he breathed hard and fans find it difficult.
Yeah.
What?
Or, fans have noticed this inconsistency in this episode. Yeah, like when it aired, everybody noticed it. What are you talking about it now for?
Yeah, and I'm like, and plus we have a podcast about that.
Yeah. My fear is that I'm clicking on these things to check them out, and I'm just encouraging them because I'm clicking on them.
Yes.
But I have to. I have to know.
We'll click on them so you don't have to.
So you don't have to, yeah.
Okay, on with the episode.
Yes.
Okay, we start in Midsomer. Oh, no. No, we don't.
We start in Borneo.
Which is the 3rd largest island in the world. Mm-hmm. Which is actually part of Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
And this mountain, Mount Kinabalu.
Yeah.
That's a real mountain.
Yes, it is.
There's a real park there.
And there is an orchid that comes from there that's very rare.
Yes. All of that.
It's a Rothschild, not a Roth.
Oh, by the way, I found a guy on YouTube who is, it's like, because I saw this set. And I was like, I wonder what the forest of Borneo is actually like. Because I didn't know. I've never been there.
How accurate is this? Yeah. Because they're not in Borneo. I'm sure, you all noticed that.
And I watched a video of Dr. Alistair Robinson. And I'll post this video. First of all, he's a good looking dude.
Hey.
And second of all, he is in the forest searching for orchids where they are.
Yes.
Where they are supposed to be.
Yeah. And he's looking for an orchid that's like the size of the tip of your thumb.
Yeah, it's this tiny little orchid.
Impressive that he finds any of them.
It's a great little video. It shows you what jungles actually look like. I spent the whole 5 minutes going, there's a snake gonna jump out of nowhere and eat him any minute.
You'd edit that out, you know? When I saw this episode for the first time, I was convinced that Madeline and Jimmy were on a soundstage.
I also thought that.
But they're not. They're actually... so this set was built by a company called Living Props UK, and on their property, in addition to their greenhouses and all that stuff, and they do some really cool plant props.
So they're plant prop specialists.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, up to trees that are like 100 feet tall, they move in. Like these trees that you see on a set that look like they've been there forever. Yeah. They just trucked it in and put it there.
So I'm like a director, and I have, say I'm doing a scary movie in England, and I need a scary tree.
Yeah. They can bring you one.
Oh, nice.
They did one where the tree needed to rub up against a window and make a scary sound. So they brought a leafless tree that's all gnarly into the set, put it in the right place so that it could actually rub up against the window.
Nice.
They do that kind of stuff. It's
That's
really,
fantastic.
really incredible work. But on their property, by all their greenhouses and all that stuff, they've got a little runoff pond that's like next to the parking lot, and they converted that into Borneo.
Because the pond is the special thing.
Yes,
right?
The water.
The trees and stuff like that, they could be in pots and stuff like that. You cut it out of the frame and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. That's easy. But they were like waist deep in water.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a runoff pond on their property. And on their website, you can see what it looked like before. And then they trucked all the stuff out of their greenhouses and decked it out, and the actors slugged through it. And they probably put it all back.
For easily 30 seconds of on-screen time. Well, a little more, like 2 minutes, the cold opening.
But it's exotic.
I will put a link to their site in the show notes.
So they're trudging through together, Madeline and Jimmy, who love each other.
There's some fantastic jungle sounds if you didn't listen to them.
Yeah.
Like the thing about Alistair Robinson's video that I noticed was there's not those jungle sounds.
No, it's a different sound. But they're trudging through. They're clearly looking for something. At one point, Jimmy even kind of puts his hands in his pockets, like he's sort of sullen. Like, no, you don't do that. When you're in water in a jungle, you have your hands ready to go.
Yeah.
To fight off the crocodile, the snake, the tarantula. At least I would.
Yeah.
But they're looking for a log that he had seen before, and he had cut notches into it to find it again. They find it, and they find the yellow roth orchid, and he quickly just cuts it off.
Incredibly rare, probably the only one in existence that they know of.
Yes,
let's cut it.
Which I understand. The root ball is what you want. But he just snips it off. And okay, so she can put it in her belly pack and smuggle it home. I get it. But then the first time we see it in Midsomer is at Harry Plummer's place, and it's already bloomed again. Even though it's supposed to take a year to bloom.
So they're in Borneo, and they come back to Midsomer, and that is like in a matter of weeks, and yet
it's bloomed again.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, there's some problem there.
So the orchid that they're referencing, it's interesting because they kind of take some information from a real orchid that actually does grow on Kinabalu in the national park in Malaysia. The orchid that park is known for is called Rothschild's orchid.
Okay.
And it sells for about $5,000 a plant.
$5,000?
Even though it can now be grown and propagated in greenhouses everywhere, it is still that rare.
I'm sorry, I was playing Scott there.
That's not the most expensive orchid I've found.
Oh, I know.
There are some real orchids that sell for much, much more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she stuffs it in her belly pack so she can smuggle it home, and Madeline heads back to the UK and leaves Jimmy behind, I guess, to follow her at some point.
But there's another person in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
Boy. Who is clearly a man of 25 or more.
Yeah. But he's just called Boy because he just says, your taxi's here, and then disappears.
That's it.
He's not done a lot more acting, by the way, that actor.
Boy has not.
He's got like four credits on IMDb, and most of them are like, boy type roles. So
it worked,
Yeah.
We're back to Midsomer, though.
And of course, we have to have an event.
Well, okay. So
because that's where bad shit happens.
Before the event, I have two things.
Okay.
One, I think the bike and the basket that Dr. Winstanley is driving,
the butcher's bike,
is a little veiled reference to Midsummer's, to Badger's Drift.
Yeah, because it's orchids and a bike with a basket.
Yeah, and she's driving the same way, and the shots are kind of in the same order. I think it's a callback. I don't think it's a direct reference, but
yeah,
I think it's a callback.
I like butcher's bikes. I think they're really cool.
Yeah.
Their front wheels are small to accommodate that big basket.
And they have those cool kickstands.
Yeah.
Yep.
If I was going to have a bike, because I always carry so much crap around with me every time I go to work.
Yeah.
When I used to go to work.
What is go to work?
I always thought if I was going to ride a bike, it would be a butcher's bike because they're upright. You're not like leaning over like a racer or anything. And you can carry a lot of stuff.
The bike I want kind of looks like one.
Yeah, it's cool.
The other thing, and because I watch Midsomer in a weird way now because of this show, this damn show, behind her, she turns a corner. First of all, there's a wee horse and buggy in the background with two women on it, and one of them has a puppy.
Okay.
But there's a sign that says Ashton Road, which is interesting because near where I came from, Canada, there's a little village called Ashton. So I was interested in that.
So this is a sign that has directions in multiple ways, like go this way for yada, yada, go that way.
Ashton Road this way.
Okay.
And also on it is a sign for Wildlife Hospital.
Okay.
So, of course, I did a search for Ashton Road and Wildlife Hospital.
Yeah.
Now, Wildlife Hospital is not a vet.
Okay.
It's
like a rescue center.
It's a rescue center.
For wild animals.
If you have a badger that's hurt on your property, you take it to the Wildlife Center.
Yeah.
The only one I could find in England was Tiggy Winkles.
Tiggy Winkles Wildlife Rescue?
It's on Ashton Road in Haddenham, Buckinghamshire.
You really butchered that.
I did. Buckinghamshire.
No, you got to drop a syllable there, I think.
Buckinghamshire.
There you go.
Yes. Haddenham.
Miss Tiggy Winkles makes sense.
No, just Tiggy Winkles. It's not Miss.
But still, Tiggy it makes sense to name it Tiggy Winkles.
Yep.
Yeah.
It looks like a fun place. They have a colorful sign. Yes, so the Do is the annual flower and orchid show at Malham Manor today.
So Professor Winstanley is on her butcher bike. Margaret,
we must assume has a PhD in botany.
Yes, one of the many middle-aged to older ladies who are lascivious in this episode.
Agreed.
She's played by Harriet Walter, who is an amazing lady. I mean, she's been in all kinds of things and does all kinds of good work around the world. I mean, she's done Guantanamo Bay protests and Greenpeace stuff and
she does a lot
animal
of
rights
sort of
stuff. It's just amazing stuff that she does. What I didn't know about her, and I have to tell you how I found out. The order in which I learned the following facts is important. She is the niece of Geddy Lee.
Geddy Lee or Christopher Lee?
Okay, so you just got it. All right. So the first thing I saw was that she was the niece of Geddy Lee. Now, Geddy, not Geddy. But I was like, Geddy Lee? You mean the lead singer of Rush?
A fantastic Canadian prog rock.
How can she be his niece? That's not right.
It's not right.
Geddy Lee is a woman who was married to Christopher Lee.
Okay.
And Harriet Walter is...
Christopher Lee and Geddy Lee were married?
I know! They would be the oddest couple ever. Christopher Lee's all spooky and Geddy Lee's like, ah!
But they both have albums of hard rock material.
Oh.
Now, Geddy
is her name.
Giddy.
Yes, and she was Christopher Lee's wife. Geddy is who Harriet Walter's actually blood related to.
Okay.
Right?
Not.
Christopher Lee was her uncle.
Yeah.
But wow, what a cool uncle he would be. Like, can you imagine? It'd be like having Vincent Price for an uncle. It'd be so fun. In the world of
cool uncles, he would certainly be one of the coolest.
As into Halloween as I am, I would have been taking advantage of that relationship.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Christopher Lee is one of our absolute favorites.
Yeah. But the first reference I saw was Geddy Lee, and it didn't include the fact that she was married to Christopher Lee. And I was thinking Geddy Lee, and I'm like, what? No. And just the family pictures that were popping up in my head were bizarre. bizarre. Anyway, that's Winstanley.
Yeah.
She's got this assistant, Jonathan Makepeace.
So she shows up in the manor. Did you recognize the manor?
Mm-hmm.
What's the manor?
A manor used in another episode? Which one is it?
It's in the one where the guy's wife is burned in the car accident.
Yes.
Which has another Star Wars reference.
Yes, that's right. Harriet Walter and her uncle, Christopher Lee, were both in Star Wars movies.
Insert Star Wars sound now.
Yeah. Okay. Having been a graduate student for many years before I finally finished.
We're both.
And been a graduate assistant, I can easily say that my graduate assistant experiences were way better than Jonathan's, because none of my advisors ever encouraged me to have an affair with an old lady to get information.
Oh, you didn't have that?
No.
Oh.
In your media studies stuff, did your chair try to put you up to sleeping with old ladies?
No.
Okay. I was like, because maybe we should stop talking about Midsomer and talk about that.
I know that academia is a hotbed of problems. But
there's no chair in Common Sense.
Yeah. That is the best line of the episode. And so true.
If anybody's been in academia of any sort, you're like, amen, brother.
I've seen people who are some of the smartest people I know who are so specifically knowledge, they have trouble getting their car door open.
Yes. You just hope you're not one of those people and you just haven't noticed yet.
Yep.
All of the extras at this flower show are fantastic.
Including the guy with the bow tie.
Yes. And I can only assume that they are an actual, flower society of some sort that they kind of brought in to be extras.
There's one young woman, I'd say she's 16, 18, somewhere in there, and she's on the verge of laughing.
Oh, she's going to crack up. The camera has to pan away from her constantly.
Yeah.
Because she looks like she's about to laugh. And this great jazz band made completely out of small men in blue shirts.
Yes.
And they're good.
They're not bad.
No, they play okay.
They play New Orleans jazz, according to the credits.
And Tom, of course, is running the tombola.
Now, I'm going to get Greenland here.
Okay.
The ADR in that tent is maybe some of the worst ADR in the show.
Okay, you need to explain.
So ADR is additional dialogue recording.
So when they do the original filming, the audio that they got isn't great. And so they bring actors into the studio to re-record that audio and they dub it in.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's usually you hear different levels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't even sound like Tom at certain points. It's clearly Tom.
Yeah.
But
that vest he's got on is special.
Oh boy.
I don't know what that is.
So he's running tombola.
Right.
So
Tom's tombola.
You put a bunch of papers with numbers in them.
Tickets.
In the tombola.
Mm-hmm.
You fold them over once.
Right.
You roll around.
It's a raffle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For £1, you get 1 ticket. And for £5, you get 6 tickets.
Thanks for pointing that out. It's critical.
If it has a 0 in the number,
you win a prize. If you have a knot, you win a prize, like an exciting tea cozy or a guide to Switzerland.
Yes.
Assuming that these
kind of sucked.
Yeah. Assuming these the prizes have been donated, right?
Yeah.
The one guy wins the tea cozy again. He's like, I got that last year.
Captain Tucker.
Yeah.
I have major problems with Captain Tucker in this episode.
He's really only there to do that.
He's mean to Tom. He wins first place. He stands behind Monroe, and that is all he does.
That's it.
He's not even interviewed.
No. But I get so pissed when he throws the tickets in Tom's face because he won the stupid tea cozy.
And now Tom has to pick him up.
But, yeah, he doesn't seem to care. He just rolls on. Roll up. And he's been roped into it by Joyce because she's organizing the whole flower show.
So Joyce organized the whole thing. And she's decided that next year she's not going to have anything to do with it.
Well, I've already killed people related to this event. Time to move on.
Then they give prizes.
Right.
with the judges. And the judges are Professor Winstanley, her boy toy research assistant, some other woman, and Joyce, who has shoebox of prizes.
Well, it's like they're like certificates.
So you get a certificate and you get a ribbon.
Yes.
You get nothing else. Yet this is the most intense competition ever.
Because it's not about the prize. It's about the recognition, right?
I guess.
So Captain Tucker wins first, Monroe Hilliard wins second, and Henry Plummer wins third.
I have he's an ass under it.
Referring to which one? Yes.
Yes.
All of them?
Well, Monroe is not, he's
a half
He's
of
an
ass.
older man. He's an older man and acts like an older man, like we've seen older men.
An older, wealthy, entitled man.
Yes. But no, it's Henry who I have as an ass.
Yeah.
Because, okay, first of all, where does Henry get his money? Because they are loaded.
Yes.
Okay.
And retired, and he doesn't even look like he's 50.
Yeah. What did he retire from?
I don't know.
And they live in her parents' house? All these
Which is a beautiful house, including an indoor pool that she didn't want to live in.
And the worst greenhouse ever.
But
he has all his orchids around this giant pool of chlorinated water.
Yeah.
It would be so bad for them.
But it would be a humid place.
It would
they
be
need
humid.
the humidity. But yeah, she's so, his wife, Deborah, we'll get to her. Anyway, he has a little fit because he doesn't win first.
I got Poxy third.
He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who would even care about competition. He wants them for himself, to kind of like, he's like somebody who buys art and puts it in a private room so only he can look at it.
Yeah.
I don't think he would care, but apparently he does.
I think he loves those flowers.
Yeah.
I don't think he loves his wife.
Could you?
I don't know.
I don't blame him for that.
I don't think he loves himself, but he loves those flowers.
Yeah. And then suddenly we've got Plummer with the yellow Roth, and it's in bloom, right? So he has somehow got that from Madeline. We find out
that's after the day.
After the day, right? She sold it to him.
Yeah.
And so he's got it there poolside, ogling it. He's so happy.
So still to come at the day, we have Baedeker's Guide to Switzerland.
Yes, because Madeline wins it at the tombola.
Which is a 1905 book, which is just brilliant. It is 1,000 pages about Switzerland.
And she says it's coincidental because she's about to head off to Switzerland to get married.
It is a well-known sort of exemplar of travel and botany.
Ah.
So it has like weather report charts, and it's a beautiful book.
It's one of those awesome older books that's very compact.
Yep.
And is jam-packed with stuff.
There are tons of fold-out pages. This is a really special
book. But good travel books should fit in your pocket, right?
Yeah,
even if it has to be a large pocket. It's one of those.
It's a real book, and
Is there only a Switzerland guide? Did Baedeker do other guides?
I don't know. You can get it for about $30 or $50 on eBay.
Yeah. So. It is very cool.
Yep.
We've got Plummer with the Roth that we know he got from Madeline.
Yep.
We find out later she sold it to him for $150,000.
Yep.
It is miraculously bloomed just weeks after they said it would take a year for it to bloom again.
Never stated how he gets the money.
No. Well, and he only gives her $25,000.
Yeah.
Like he's going to owe her.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If I've got something worth $150,000, you're giving me at least half down, if not the money in full before you get it.
Especially if you're going to ogle it near a giant pond of chlorinated water.
Yeah. There's no way I'd let you put $25 down on $150,000. No. And then
Deborah's going to London.
Deborah, played by Amanda Harris, what she does really well in this episode is talk without moving her teeth apart.
She does that very well. She does that very well.
She's mad all the time, and her teeth are attached to each other.
Well, wouldn't you be mad all the time if he was your husband?
I don't know. I would have divorced him a long time ago, I think.
I guess. I don't know. Less her, more Winstanley. I think we need to stick up for these ladies a bit more. I think you have a jaded view of them a bit.
All I know
Deborah, certainly.
is Deborah is angry all the time. And the way she expresses it is by keeping her teeth together when she talks.
I only wish she said, I'm going to town instead of London. That would have been the best part. Because I love when they call London town.
So then Harry Rose, the all-around painter, decorator, repairman guy who's out on parole.
He's the jack of all trades.
Yeah, and finds Madeline's body.
I think he's one of my favorite characters in the whole episode.
He's good.
He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
He comes out on top, too.
Yeah, he's not squeaky clean.
Nope.
But he's having a good time with his life, and he's not hurting anybody.
He takes 100% responsibility for his mistakes.
Yeah. Well, he killed a guy.
He said, I killed him. I did my time.
8 years.
8 years. He didn't say, well, it was an accident. He said, I did it.
Yeah.
8 years. And he said, I've been keeping clean ever since.
I've never heard of anybody who gets out on work release and starts their own company.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
I'm not sure how he managed that one.
England.
But he finds Madeline dead. They're obviously close. He's going to her house to make some kind of repair. He knows where the key is when she doesn't answer.
Yep.
Now, she's not in a nightgown. She's wearing her Roman costume.
Greek, he says.
Greek costume, right?
Yeah.
Because she taught classics before she retired.
Yes.
Which is why she's got Socrates'
bust
head in her living room.
Yep.
So she's put on a costume to sit around the house.
I think it's her loungewear.
Okay.
I guess.
That's kind of floofy loungewear. I mean, we can't all be, Deborah, which I have to say with my teeth together from now on. We can't all be Deborah wearing our nightie with our silk robe over it and our 3-inch heeled slippers.
We can't. But
why does anybody wear slippers with high heels on them? I don't understand.
What I'm always amazed by is how Madeline has so much money and doesn't spend a stitch of it. Her chair is ratty.
She spends it traveling.
Yeah. Like she does not put her money into her house.
That cottage that she lives in is 2 floors. It's Tudor. It's got beams in every room. That's a $2 million cottage.
But that's Midsomer real estate.
Right.
Like I'm sure Harry Rosen lives in one too.
Everybody's got a beautiful thatched roof cottage that they think is a dump. Sorry. Yeah.
Get it, Rose. And this is an orchid.
Get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Scott figures out she's off to get married through dubious evidence.
That evidence is completely dubious. I have a rhyme. I'll find stuff that matches the rhyme.
I think I could walk into any room in our house and find something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue.
But those knickers, wow.
I think they came from what's-her-name's lingerie shop in the last episode.
There's not a lot of material there.
They're split crotch panties.
Yeah.
Which, of course, Scott holds up upside down to demonstrate.
Yeah.
She Madeline, was packing.
Great dead body.
Oh, fabulous dead body.
Absolutely
Mouth
fabulous.
hanging open, eyes wide open, slumped over. Her mouth must have got so dry.
Yep. Great dead body.
And then Scott does his magic with the safe.
Yes.
And just whacks the back of it off with an axe that just happens to be sitting around, I guess.
And the axe has words on it.
It does?
Yeah, it just has a bunch of initials on it.
On the handle or on the head of it?
Yep. On the handle.
Well, I don't know who made that safe, but they didn't do a very good job.
The Hercules Safe Company made that safe.
Of course you know that.
They're no longer in business.
Well, duh.
But
all you got to do is pry the back of it off.
I couldn't find this safe. I couldn't find any reference that you can break their safes with this method.
Well, originally...
It's only there so that Scott can make a pun.
Yeah, when I saw it the first time and Scott was putting his hand on it, I thought he was going to go, if you just knock it right here, it will open. It's another reference to the fact that he's been a big city cop.
Yes, the school of hard locks.
He just whacks the back of it off with a swing of an axe that I don't think I could make.
Yeah.
The back plate is maybe 1/2 inch thick, and he's got to hit it right at the seam between the body of the safe and that.
Having used a pickaxe yesterday, No way you could do that the first time.
Not without a lot of experience, but he does it. And he finds Madeline's diary.
Yep.
And her account book, both written in Latin with something that looks like a quill pen or a fountain pen or a calligraphy pen. I don't know. It not only is it in Latin, but I couldn't even make out the letters.
Barnaby looks at this Latin and it reads Ante diem sextum nonas maxima vulva.
Okay. Which means?
Before the day of the largest matrix.
Matrix?
Yeah.
What?
That's what the Latin translator I found. I did it twice in two different translators and I got the same answer.
Before the day of the largest matrix.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what it says.
Maybe it's like the day before a big event.
Yes.
Like tomorrow is a big day.
Yeah. I think they picked those words because they sound sexy.
Because it's vulva.
And sextum. Just like they use fecus later.
Fecund.
Fecund.
Yes. Which always sounds gross to me.
So Tom doesn't know a real lot Latin. Scott doesn't know a lot of Latin. But
in comes Georgie.
Georgie.
Talking about their robust sexual activity.
Yes.
Ew.
Yeah.
And says that Brother Robert up at the monastery we've never heard of, he can translate it. He'll do a good job. Name.
No, I want a Brother Roberts show. I would watch that. Where he solves crimes.
I just love at the end. Well, you can just watch Cadfile. I just love at the end when he's given the eulogy because he knew all about Madeline.
Oh boy,
having read her diary.
I have an idea of what he does later on. So they take it to him. There's this whole thing about honey and bees that is immediately dropped after this scene and never referenced again.
Right.
He reads the following. Dis Saturni uncanes in via delicus fectum.
Okay.
Fecmus. Okay. Then vinum bibimus a interim fecit.
Okay.
Okay. He says that means Saturday, we satisfied ourselves like street dogs. We drank wine and we did it again and again.
Okay.
It actually means we have done in the way of the delights of the day of Saturn is like a dog. In the meantime, we drank wine.
So he's sexing it up.
Yep.
From the literal translation of what she's writing.
But he's close.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I put what he said into the translator and translated it into Latin.
And so they're pretty close.
And that is Saturni ut nos ipsi Saturnabatur plata canes bibi vinum nos fecit. So it had fecit in it.
They can't mess around with the Latin too much because they have to assume that some viewers will know Latin. Anybody who studied classics will have learned Latin.
Oh, it's time for Vestas. Goodbye.
Yes.
End of scene.
And he just grabs the diary and runs. Mine.
That's it.
It might take me a while. Bye.
You kind of forget about him for the rest of the episode.
Until the end. So then we have the next day where we go to the greenhouse to see Win Stanley and Makepeace. What is it about pockety vests?
The day of the flower show was Saturday.
Right.
So this is Sunday.
Yes.
What academic do you know that goes to the Faculty of Botany on Sunday?
No. This is Monday. So on Saturday, we have the flower show.
And Sunday, they find the body.
Sunday, they find the body. And on Monday. Yes, this is day 3. They go to the university and see the pockety vest people.
Yes.
What point is there to wearing a pockety vest? I don't understand pockety vests.
I know.
They get on my nerves.
Their pockety vests are there to keep all their security keys because of these incredibly expensive... Oh,
no.
Wait a minute. There is no security at this place. The doors are wide open.
Yes, with the very expensive flowers right inside the door.
That you could just take. Now, I know there's a greenhouse at IU where Indiana University, where we're near. It's right near our not near our house, but we could walk there.
Yeah.
There's locks on that door.
Oh, yes.
And there's like keys to get in.
It's a very secure place.
Yeah. This place, the doors are wide open. The windows are wide open. You can just reach in and take some orchids.
And all the people who work at our gigantic greenhouse here on campus wear aprons.
Mm-hmm. Not vesty pocketed.
Not pockety vests.
No.
They wear aprons because that's where they keep their tools, their notebook.
Scott has hay fever, which is also conveniently forgotten for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, it just means he gets to be sneezy in the greenhouse. But didn't Troy get hay fever too?
Yes, he
when
did.
They were around flowers. So it's a sergeant thing.
So they show her the ledger. Now, remember, we know the ending.
Right.
So she knows where this ledger's from, and she already suspects Madeline of selling stuff.
Oh, yes.
So she's putting on some acting hats here.
Oh, yes.
She's got her acting pants on.
She's pretending to be intrigued, but she says she's intrigued many times.
Yes. 150,000 pounds to HP.
There's somebody else, though, that she sells an orchid to for $5,999.
Yes. Not 6,000.
How did those negotiations happen?
That's what you sell one retail for.
Yeah. I want 6,000 pounds for this.
No.
No, I'm not paying a cent over 5,999 pounds for that. Okay. I'll give you a pound back.
There you go. There's a pound coin.
Yeah. I don't get that at all.
HP? Like HP Lovecraft?
Like Harry Potter?
No.
No. Henry Plummer, sorry.
And then what I like about this episode, as opposed to the last episode, is we're right into killing number 2.
Yeah, oh yeah. Henry's dead. Yep. And Deborah finds him.
He's
in
still
her
in his
slippers.
tux.
Yeah. She hasn't seen him for 36 hours, so he's been dead out there for a while.
So her story is this. That he went to Coston after she went to town, dressed up in his tux to see his girlfriend in some play.
Yeah.
And then came back. She thinks it's suicide.
Well, yeah, she finds him hanging from a rope in the garage. I think that would be what your first assumption would be.
And I got to tell you, again, great dead body acting.
Oh, yeah. He does a really good job. Even in the morgue, he does a good job.
Coloring, it's really good. He's good dead
the
body.
makeup's good too. Yeah.
And they find all his orchids in the pool.
Trashed.
Trashed.
It's all trashed.
Yep.
All of his expensive flowers in cheap plastic pots are trashed.
And then there's a quick scene where Monroe has the Roth and then it's not talked about again. Till later.
Yeah. When he gets killed looking at it.
Jimmy Fong shows up.
We've seen him before. We saw him in Borneo. We haven't seen him since.
Yeah. And he shows up at Madeline's and Harry knows all about him.
Harry knows him and has to tell him that Madeline's dead. Let me tell you about Jimmy Fong. He's played by Sai-Kit Young.
Okay.
Who is originally from China. He's Cantonese. Fong means square.
Oh, okay.
By the way. But the interesting thing about this actor, Sai-Kit Young, he's got loads and loads of credits.
Yeah, he's well known.
He's been in a gazillion movies.
Yep.
Because they just churn him out in Asia. You know, like there are some years where he has like 10 film credits in a year.
Yeah. And he does English well, and I'm sure he does Chinese well.
Yeah. But there was a time in his career where all of his movies were extremely kinky movies.
Extremely kinky?
I'll give you some of the titles.
Okay.
Robotrix. Escape from Brothel. Sex and Curse. The Skin Stripperess.
Okay.
Hot Desire.
I'm assuming these are some fantastic B movies from China.
Oh, we're not even at the good ones yet.
Okay.
1/3 Lover.
What's the other 2/3?
I don't know. Sex and the Emperor.
Okay.
7 Sexual Maniacs.
Okay.
4 Beautiful Amorous Ghost.
4 Ghosts or Ghost? Ghost, okay.
Maids of Passion. And Legendary Couple.
Wow.
I think the Skin Stripperess is the one I want to see. Because it does not sound sexy if she's taking off her own skin.
Yeah, it's not good.
That pole is not going to be pleasant.
No.
It's like
the blood-covered pole.
It's like if Hellraiser meant a stripper movie.
Oh, yuck.
Ew, yuck.
So they go to the autopsy. Find out it's hemlock that she died from. Doesn't know if the plumber killed himself or not. There might be an orchid war. What Knickers?
Mm-hmm.
That's that whole scene.
George. What Knickers?
They go to see Feather.
Mm-hmm.
So who's Feather? First of all, at the day of the event.
Mm-hmm. The flower show is being held at the Hilliard Manor.
Monroe Hilliard's wife comes out and looks around like, what are these people doing here?
Now she looks around like, I don't want these people here. And Feather's behind her going, yes, Mom, I agree.
So he is their butler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Known only as Feather.
Feather. He looks as old as they are.
His name is Richard Simpson.
Okay.
And Richard has been in lots of things, of course. But since filming this show, he is best known for something you will not believe.
Okay.
He is the voice of many, many monsters in Power Rangers movies. He did the voice of Galvanax in Power Rangers Ninja Steel.
Okay.
He was the voice of the Keeper, which looks like E.T. but with bushy eyebrows.
Oh, I'll have to put a picture of that in the show notes.
And Power Rangers Dino Charge.
Okay.
He was Metacore, who's a crab-themed Megazord.
Power Rangers filmed in Japan.
Yes.
And then dubbed over again in America.
Yes. And he does all of the bad guys.
Wow.
He was also Snapper in Power Rangers Jungle Fury, who is a turtle-themed samurai thing. I don't know. It's like part turtle, part samurai.
Again, picture and show notes.
My favorite one, though, is a bad guy named Camdor.
Okay.
From Power Rangers Operation Overdrive.
Oh.
He is a blue cyborg warrior who inexplicably has a white fur collar.
Now, he doesn't play these bad guys.
Just voices them.
Just voices the edits of them.
Yes.
Yes.
But he is like, he's at all the Power Ranger conferences now.
Yeah.
All the cons.
Wow.
Feather is the man for doing the scary voices, apparently.
We came to this conference just to see Feather.
The hole that I fell in for Power Rangers crap.
We're only getting started on holes here.
I know what a Megazord is now. I never wanted to know, but I do know now.
Never thought we'd have a crossover between Power Rangers and Midsomer Murders.
There you go.
There you go. Monroe's not home.
No, because he's up on the hill doing orchid patrol.
The Piecrest Downs near Piecrest Wood.
This is the worst organized orchid patrol ever.
They have a buster bust.
A blusterbus?
Yeah, they have that big old gun.
Big useless gun. Yeah. Blunderbuss. First of all, they haven't even put a rope around it.
No sign, right? No nothing.
No. Second of all, the entire Orchid Society is there together guarding it, but hiding.
Now, wait a minute. The people who are there are Monroe,
Mrs. Maitland,
Captain Tucker,
and the other guy. whose job it is to stand in the back and nod.
And go,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they all hide like 15 feet away from the thing and only come out when his foot is like a foot away from it.
Yeah.
And then Hilliard points a blunderbuss at him to make him stop moving, which just makes him back up more.
It does.
And again, we have a sergeant who tramples an orchid.
Yep.
There's your throwback right there.
There it is.
Even if they had just put the little popsicle stick with the ribbon next to it, it would have been easier for it to be protected. But no, they couldn't learn from Badger's Drift.
Nope. Barnaby tells them that Plummer's dead, and Monroe calls him a parvenu.
Which is an upstart, somebody who's newly wealthy.
Yep. New money, basically.
Yes.
Previous to this, when they were in the house the first time when Madeline died, I got sidetracked by the typewriter.
She has a typewriter?
She does.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm a typewriter guy. I got sidetracked.
Is it an interesting typewriter?
It's interesting because I can't freaking find it.
Oh, you don't know what kind it is?
No, they don't show enough of it.
Oh.
Jimmy Fong, looking for the will, kind of moves around it, but I never see a nameplate or anything. It's green. It has white keys. It's old.
If you couldn't figure it out, nobody else is going to figure it out.
I think it's a royal.
Nobody looks as closely as you do.
I'm pretty sure it's a royal.
And then we get to Madeline's passport.
So at the cop shop, they have some evidence, right? It's Madeline's passport and a piece of paper from a travel agency. Now,
the Midsomer Travel Agency.
This piece of paper, this passport, and this travel agency were the next 2.5 hours of my life.
Of course they were.
I didn't get my first initial rewatch of the episode done because I was way down this rabbit hole.
Is it a real British passport? It looks real.
It looks very real, but it has some weirdness to it. First of all, it has Madeline's date of birth as the following, the 22nd of May, 1979.
Oh, bullshit. That woman is not younger than me. I'm sorry.
It's not.
No way.
The actress was born in 1943. She is 22 years older than you.
Now, my driver's license may have my weight listed at a little bit of a fib, but I'm sorry. I didn't lie about my birthday by 20 years, 30 years.
It has a date issued, which is 96, and then a date for where it goes away, which is May 2006.
Goes away, meaning it expires.
Expires.
Okay. Because she's about to travel to Switzerland with Jimmy Fong so they can get married and have their honeymoon, right?
Yes. So down at the bottom of your passport, if you haven't looked at your passport recently, you should go get it. Make sure that it's valid, first of all. Then at the bottom, there's a lot of greater than symbols.
Yeah. Carrots.
And then usually your name in capital letters in there, right? It's the same on Canadian passports. It's the same on British passports.
It's written vertically on the page at the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually it has your full name in here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In this passport, it says Catherine in all capital letters.
Oh, so it's not her passport.
And not her middle name. She has no middle name according to the passport.
But that's the only part of the name you can see at the edge of the page.
It just has Madeline Villiers.
So they doctored the kind of like profile part of the passport and forgot to doctor the edge of the page.
And the Catherine woman must have a really short first name.
You mean last name? Or Catherine's her middle name?
Last name or No, it only says Catherine.
Did you look through the production assistants to see if any of them are Catherine?
I did.
And?
No.
Oh.
It's unfortunate.
So it's not the poor woman whose credit card got exposed on an earlier episode.
No.
But they definitely borrowed somebody's
took
passport.
the picture and they laid it over. It looks like a decent. It's well done.
Yeah.
It's well done. It's one of those careers that I could see myself getting into, creating these documents for these things. And the next thing is, you get a Midsomer travel voucher.
Mm-hmm. Because she's arranged her travel through the Midsomer Travel Agency?
You know, Midsomer Travel, it's your gateway to the world.
Straight from Midsomer to anywhere.
It says, with compliments. You paid for it.
Yeah. They gave you that piece of paper for free.
It says, Midsomer Travel, 101 High Street, Coston, MD4 4DN.
Okay.
And then it gets good. Underneath that is the Midsomer Travel number and the fax number, but both are obscured.
Okay.
So you can't get the full number. But what is not obscured is the website address for Midsomer Travel and their email address.
Okay.
We'll do the email address first. The email address is midsummertravel@coston.org, which is not how this works. They would have their own email address.
Yeah.
Because they own their own domain.
Right.
And their domain is midsummertravel.co.uk.
Okay.
Which is how British company
URLs go,
right? First, I looked up the Coston domain, coston.org.
Okay.
And that's owned by some guy in Canada. I don't know who. I sent him an email. I sent an email to that address. It came back instantly saying
bounced.
The email doesn't exist.
Okay.
So they made that up.
Okay.
Then I went to that website.
midsummertravel.co.uk.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Go to that website on your phone.
Okay. You can play along at home by going to midsummertravel.co.uk. Huh.
What does it show?
The Midsomer Maniacs website.
Because I own this domain now.
That may be a new height of nerdiness for you. Congratulations.
I typed this domain into our service provider and it said, this is available. And I clicked on the button.
You're like, not anymore.
For $11.95, I now own this domain.
Midsummertravel.co.uk.
I may have had to fib a bit. I had to provide some business number. I just put in random numbers.
It was probably a VAT number.
Yeah, I don't care. I put in random
You probably
numbers.
broke the law. We're not in the UK. We can't have a UK domain.
I checked the box that said not a UK company.
Oh, I can see where this is going now. You're going to start buying every domain you see in Midsummer.
Perhaps.
Maybe. You are too funny.
That's brilliant.
Never mind that the travel agency keeps their records in Microsoft Works.
Okay, we're not even to the travel agency yet. We're still at the cop shop.
Okay, what other nerdiness things did you find? So
now they go to the travel agency because Barnaby goes, well, we know somebody who works at a travel agency. And I was like, yeah, 4 seasons ago.
Yeah, nope, she works there again.
She still works there in her little uniform.
Yeah, with her neckerchief.
So Scott goes over to see her.
Cully.
And he comes through the door and again, I'm gone. Because behind the door, across the street,
is the library.
Is a library, which is Watlington Branch Library.
Okay.
I was like, there can't be many of these.
No.
There isn't. There is but one. And it is located on the high street in Watlington in the UK. Across the street is a white painted shop that has the right windows, the right door. I checked everything, which is Smith and Partners. They're a estate agent.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where they are.
Where is Watlington? Is it even in Oxfordshire?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So there's a giant monument right outside the door that they do a really good job of not showing. It's like a World War II and World War I monument.
Gotcha. Well, again, as in the last episode, when it was so cheap to go to Bali, apparently you can go from Midsummer to what, LA or San Francisco?
Florida.
Oh, Florida.
5th of September for 14 nights at a Quality Inn Plaza for £399.
From Heathrow.
From Heathrow.
So it includes flight.
It's on the sign. It's got to be true.
I want to know where these cheap trips come from.
Incredibly cheap.
You can't travel that for now.
Now, Cully can't give him the information because of the Data Protection Act, which is a real thing. Okay. She says, I can't do it, Dan.
Unless
you come back in and sit down.
Yes. I'm sure I can work something out, like forget what I just said. I'm just going to look at a spreadsheet anyway. It's fine.
She pulls up Microsoft Works. Now, if you don't know what Microsoft Works is, it's like a cheap version of Microsoft Office.
Yeah. It was the free version, kind of.
You still had to pay for Microsoft Works.
But it was cheap.
Yeah.
And it came with a lot of computers.
Yeah.
So they must have a spreadsheet for every customer.
And it's the information's super easy and it's all right and where they traveled and Jimmy Fong's in there and I looked at the spreadsheet. It's fine.
And Jimmy and Madeline share an account.
Yes.
And have for a long time.
Well, they're kissy.
So they're obviously a couple.
Yeah.
No question.
Nope.
But Barnaby and Scott don't know who Jimmy Fong is yet.
No, they don't.
They haven't seen him.
Nope. But we do see the next person and it's familiar.
Jocelyn.
This
is his last appearance in Midsomer.
Everybody's solicitor.
And he's a versatile solicitor, too, because not only does he do estate planning, but later he becomes a criminal lawyer.
Yes.
Representing Jimmy Fong.
Yeah. He's very versatile.
We find out that Madeline left her whole estate to Jimmy.
Yep.
And that all of her money was held in a Swiss bank account.
But only 25 of the first 150
from Plumber were deposited.
Went to the Swiss bank account.
Yeah.
The Swiss bank account paper is too small to read.
But it has a big red cross at the top, so you know it's Swiss.
You know it's Swiss.
It could be the Swiss Army Knife Company, but, it's Swiss.
So they're back to Madeline's house.
Mm-hmm. And Harry's there because he's always there. Because, he's finishing a job that she already paid him for. Isn't he honorable?
But he doesn't do the yard.
He's running an outside line for water.
Yeah.
A tap.
No,
But he's not responsible for the lawn or the garden, so he doesn't know anything about it.
That's a young fella.
Yeah.
Do you know who it is?
No.
It's the graduate student.
Oh, yeah. It's Makepeace.
Yeah.
He does her yard?
So not only does he have sex with old ladies, but also does yard work.
On the side.
I don't know when he actually does any stuff.
I know. Graduate assistants are poor.
Academic stuff. And Scott goes to this little greenhouse and pulls up
a can of
slice
awesome
of fried gold.
They're looking for some kind of weed killer or something because they know that plumbers' orchids were killed with some kind of chemical, and so they're looking for it.
Scott makes a good deduction.
Yeah,
go look there.
He goes right to the greenhouse where there's equipment being kept, no flowers, well, a few flowers, but not many, and pulls up what looks to be like an old style gas can.
Yes,
but it says Apocalypse on the side.
Apocalypse,
best weed killer name ever.
Also on the can are the following. It says, kills weeds instantly. It also says, not for consumption. Are you going to drink anything called Apocalypse?
Sure.
It says, keep upright in a cool place.
And Harry says it smells like mouse pee. No, he says the hemlock smells like mouse pee.
Yeah, he says he knows nothing about the Apocalypse weed killer, yet that goes on to talk about it.
Right. And then says she grew hemlock because he planted it for her, though he doesn't do anything with the yard.
Yeah.
But knows right where it is because he planted it. And he says it smells like mouse pee.
Yes.
Now, I didn't know what mouse pee smelled like, so I had to look it up.
Okay.
Now, mice, apparently, if they live somewhere for a long time, just their body odor can smell a bit like urine, like animal urine.
Okay.
But their actual pee smells like popcorn.
Oh. Does hemlock smell like popcorn?
I don't know if hemlock smells like popcorn or if it smells like mouse BO, which smells like pee.
I don't know.
I don't have any hemlock growing. It's not a pretty plant.
No.
She grew it because she's a classics teacher and because Socrates died of hemlock poisoning. And she thought if she was ever too ill, she would drink it. So she kept some in a bottle in her living room.
When Scott touches the Apocalypse and pours it in the glass and he does all the stuff with it, the ghosty noises in the background are
well, then he pours it on a poor little morning glory that shrivels immediately.
Yes. Of course, we looked into whether or not Apocalypse weed killer is an actual thing.
It is, but not that brand.
No.
There is a weed killer called Apocalypse. I just want the can.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I may try to make that prop. I've been looking for props to make. I think I'll try to make that prop.
And then we get to see that Madeline has an incinerator, which I understand, having a can that you burn paper and stuff like that.
We had one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would you put cans in it?
No.
Or glass bottles?
No.
I mean, it's for like paper and
pizza boxes,
cardboard, and yeah.
I desperately want a menu for Midsomer Costin pizza. It didn't say anything on the pizza box that we could recognize, but oh my gosh, that would be fantastic.
But you wouldn't put cans and bottles in your incinerator.
Nope. So they go to the professor's house, and it's like they show up unannounced because she's in her bathrobe.
This scene's just stupid.
The scene is just there so she can make eyes at Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah. And ooze glamour.
It's so the bulbousness and the fecundity and blech.
So there's a couple of things that we need to cover, and then we'll cover the rest of the plot.
Yeah.
They go back to the cop shop, and there's a binder there. You wanted to know what it said. It says Guide to Classification of Crime.
Ah, okay.
So you go to that to get the right classification.
To get the code.
Yep.
For a crime.
Yes. And they also go to the pathologist's office another time.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're there, in the background is a left-handed woman writing on a whiteboard.
It's like she's writing a schedule or something, but it seems to be out in a public hallway. I don't know why that's where they would keep their schedule.
It says pathology department doctors at the top, and there's some doctors' names. But what she writes, the first word is Midsomer. I cannot tell what the other words are, but the first word is Midsomer.
Is there anything else there that you want to talk about, or can we go on with the plot?
We can go on with
Okay. So then we get to go back to the plumber's house and talk to Deborah. And Rose is upstairs packing up Henry's clothes.
Yeah.
And singing.
Yeah, I think he spent the night.
You do?
Yeah, I think Harry's getting lots here. He gets Madeline, he gets Deborah. I think he could probably have Dr. Winstanley if he wanted her too.
Well, and when he admits to sleeping with Madeline, he says she needed the practice.
Yeah.
What?
It's not like a bike.
Well, and she's already having sex with Makepeace.
Yeah.
Waiting for Fong to come back. She's not that out of practice. Well, I haven't done it since yesterday. I could use the practice. I'd hate for Jimmy to get home and me be out of practice.
Don't you mean the delivery driver?
It's so sad.
So in the most racist moment of Midsomer so far.
Of this episode.
Yes.
So far.
Yes. We have
Jimmy Fong pretending
to be a stupid Chinese person.
Crispy duck with barbecue sauce.
It's just the worst accent ever.
It's so bad. Well, and then when they go to the restaurant that he's supposedly delivering for, they talk to the owner whose name is Wang Tu Ho. He's played by a guy named Chui Bei, who has been in a ton of movies and who has no accent.
Of course he doesn't.
The accent that he puts on is horrible.
Yes,
it is so racist.
Yes.
I feel bad for actors who get asked to do that.
Yeah, it's just horrible.
You know, when they speak perfect English, which they studied very hard for.
Which Jimmy Fong, the actor who plays Jimmy Fong, does.
Sai-Kit Young
and
Chui Bei both were born in China, but have excellent English skills. So they worked very hard at some point in their life to learn that second language and to speak it so well.
Yeah.
And then they get asked to do roles where they go, me sell crispy duck? You want barbecue sauce?
It's just horrible.
So bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he does have, he has that handy dandy delivery bag with him so he can convince people.
Yes.
Yeah. Rose says he slept with Madeline because she needed the practice.
Yeah.
He says that he didn't know a lot about her flowers, except he had got her a Warden cabinet.
Yes.
Took me a while to find what a Warden cabinet was.
I assumed it was the white cabinet with glass in it in her house.
Yeah, that tiny terrarium.
It's like a bird cage, but with glass.
It's like a tiny conservatory.
Yes.
Right? It's actually a Wardian cabinet.
Wardian. Like Edwardian?
Without the Ed.
Yeah.
Wardian, because it was invented by a guy named Dr. Nathaniel Bagshaw Ward.
Wow. The third.
Yeah. In 1829, when it was a big deal. Everybody was importing flowers from all over the place.
Yeah.
You've got these people who would bring flowers back and then they wanted to keep them alive in their conservatories and stuff. And the environment was just wrong.
Which I can understand.
And so he stumbled across, accidentally, he discovered that a cabinet that was sealed with glass. He was trying to get a chrysalis to open up.
Okay.
Some moth he was trying to study. And he put it in a jar with some leaf mold at the bottom.
Yep.
And the chrysalis did open, but then a fern spontaneously grew out of the leaf mold.
Oh.
And he'd been trying to keep ferns alive for years. And he went, ha!
Okay.
All I need to do is trap the humidity inside a container and the flowers will grow.
And so he built those houses.
What do you know?
Yep.
Yeah. And they're kind of hard to find, I'm sure you can guess, because the glass breaks and they do have to be sealed pretty much. It's a tight seal.
Yep.
Now you know.
So over time, with discussions with the lascivious doctor, they figure out that there's been a plot.
Yes.
And the plot is that the doctor and the graduate student were using the graduate student's sexual prowess with Madeline.
Makepeace was seducing Madeline to find out about her flower smuggling.
So that they could be orchid smuggler police.
Yes.
And she was really into this.
Yes. And Makepeace was so smooth that he would have sex with her and then immediately after, while still in bed, go, who's your partner that you smuggle flowers with, huh?
Yeah.
And she would never tell him.
Yeah.
He's so smooth.
Smooth.
And then Monroe gets killed with a pitchfork.
Yep. Our second pitchfork death.
Yes. But from behind. And then when they confront Jonathan about it, he says, oh, I can claim that was self-defense and you can't prove any different. Like, I beg to differ because you stabbed him in the back through a chair.
A chair.
So he was attacking you and you defended yourself by stabbing him in the back through a chair?
And you left and you came back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not self-defense.
No, not at all.
Speaking of farm implements, they go to a greenhouse to confront the graduate student. What's his first name?
Jonathan.
Jonathan. And his hair.
Yes.
And he has the Roth.
Yes.
And putting the cut flower in.
No, he's got the bulb. The roots are there. But he's going to plant it in the palm house to hide it.
That has no security.
Yeah.
Okay.
And apparently he's going to plant it in full view.
Yeah.
Like he's not even behind some
Maybe
trees.
He made a little sign too.
This is not an orchid.
Yeah.
This whole episode is about orchids, right? We see tons of them.
Orchis Fatalis.
Some of them are real. Yeah. Some of them are not. And personally, I do not find them that pretty. Some of them are very beautiful. They've got really wild colors.
Absolutely.
They're gorgeous.
Like Tagger, Lily White type ones.
Yeah. But there are 25,000 species of orchids. There are more species of orchids than there are mammals.
Wow. Okay.
If that tells you anything. So one question I have, and I'm hoping a listener will be able to figure this out, is when they find Monroe's body with the pitchfork in his back, above him, kind of like hanging from the ceiling, is some kind of orchid. Yep. It almost looks like pitcher plant.
Yeah, it's some weird plant. I tried to find it.
It's some kind of octopus, bulby, nasty thing hanging from the ceiling.
I'll put a picture in the show notes of it.
I couldn't find out what it was because when I searched for hanging orchids, all I got was information about, like, you can kind of grow them upside down, you know, and I couldn't find an orchid that grew like that. The other thing I learned is that, well, there is an orchid that recently sold for 202,000 pounds.
Wow.
But it's not even a wild orchid. It was a lab-created orchid.
Okay.
It's called Shenzhen Nongge. People who collect orchids and are crazy about them have orchid delirium.
Orchid delirium.
That's what it's called.
Like the slightly racist, well, not even slightly, Japanese buy them with little white delicate flowers.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Racist much?
Racist much? There are more species of orchids native to Indiana than there are to Hawaii.
But why don't they grow in our backyard?
Because we don't live in a wooded, swampy place, which is where they like to be.
You haven't been to the backyard lately. Kind of crazy out there.
But the crazy thing that I found about all these people who actually collect orchids is that they're not really concerned with whether they're beautiful or not. I mean, some people do collect certain kinds of orchids that they really like the look of. But people who have this wide variety of species that they're like, got to get them all. They're kind of like Pokemon orchid collectors, right? They want one of each of all kinds.
Pokemon orchid is now the name of the episode.
Don't forget Power Rangers too, you know. There are some absolutely hideous orchids.
Okay.
Now it's your time to Google. Google hammer orchid.
Hammer orchid.
Yes.
Okay.
You can play at home. Google hammer orchid. It is hideous.
Oh.
It's super gross. It's black and it's hairy.
Oh.
It's nasty and very rare.
And it kind of looks like a scrotum and penis.
But black and hairy.
Yeah.
And kind of shriveled up. It's really gross.
Wow. That's an ugly flower.
But the worst one, I can't even tell you to look up because you'll never be able to spell it. It's called the Bulbophyllum Phalaenopsis. And it looks like long, red, hairy tongues.
This is going to be an interesting show notes, kids.
And, quote, smells like 100 dead elephants.
Wow.
It smells worse than a corpse plant.
Wow.
Like there are greenhouses that have collections that won't even grow it because it's so gross.
Now, if you don't know, a corpse flower is a flower that flowers very rarely.
Like once every 100 years. And when it does, it smells like rotting meat.
Yeah. And
we had one in our greenhouse here at IU.
IU greenhouse has one.
Yeah. They do not have a Bulbophyllum Phalaenopsis.
Okay.
That smells of 100 dead elephants. Not 99.
Not 99.
100.
Here's an extra elephant.
One plant smells of 100 dead elephants. It's so nasty. It is so gross. Not all orchids are created equally. Let me just say that.
Okay. So Jonathan's in the greenhouse and they confront him.
Yes. But and he threatens them with a shovel.
He has a weapon.
And then there's a Matrix scene.
Yes.
Where Tom, Scott, and Winstanley all slow motion
dodge.
They duck the shovel.
The shovel.
And then he jumps over a fence into a boat.
What is his escape plan?
Well, first he locks himself in between two fences with razor wire at the top, and then has
Why is that area even there?
That's their security. It's so strict. I thought he was going to impale his own Phalaenopsis on the spears at the top of the fence, but he clears those to jump into a boat, and then the next scene he's in the hospital with his broken leg and looks all beat up.
Now, in the magazine, they have a picture of the staging of this stunt where there is a stuntman going over top of the railing towards the boats, but you see that they actually have like a big, like a thing to catch him.
Like an inflatable cushion.
Yes. So this whole article is super interesting. I'll scan it in and I'll put it on the show notes.
Yeah. But it is the dumbest getaway.
It is. It's a super dumb getaway.
Like, yes, I know I've killed 3 people, but now I'll just jump in this boat and paddle away and never be seen again. Is that his plan?
He's on like a punt.
Yeah, like a canoe.
Like Scott could have easily just grabbed him.
Yeah. And then they go back and show him running into Monroe and killing Monroe. And he says that, Mrs. Hillier has said like twice that Monroe was a conservationist.
Yes.
He collected orchids because his father did and his grandfather did. It was a family tradition and they protected them.
Yeah.
Yet he has the yellow Roth, which may be the only specimen in existence.
Yes.
But he's not going to breed it.
No.
Why wouldn't he?
I don't know. That's how conservation works.
He would want to breed it.
He would.
Well, first of all, he wouldn't own it.
And he wouldn't put it in a plastic pot.
He'd report them.
Yeah.
But then he would breed it.
Yeah. It's weird.
Continue the species.
The whole ending is like, and I killed everybody.
Yeah. And he strangles Plummer with a pre-cut plant tie that's just hanging over a bar.
Yeah, and he doesn't strangle him very well. It doesn't look very convincing.
Well, I'll tell you, those plant ties, first of all, they're not very strong.
No, it'd snap right away.
Because if they were too tough, then they would damage the plants that you use them to support. And second of all, they're biodegradable because you want them to break down when the plant is too big.
Yeah.
They should be easy to remove and not hurt the plant. So they make it look like it's like a plastic rope kind of thing. Because he's got like a gouge in his neck from it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't happen.
There's just a whole bunch of, and then the grad student goes nuts and kills everybody.
Yeah.
For this episode.
So what's his motive?
His motive is, I want the money from the plant. So then why is he putting in
He's hiding it, but he needs it to live.
Sight. Yeah.
You'd think he would just take it home in a pot.
Even in the pot that Monroe had it in.
Yeah. He rips it out of the pot and leaves the empty pot behind, which is a big mistake.
Yeah.
Because then it's clear that somebody took it. If he just took the whole pot, they would have never known Monroe had it.
Never known.
Nah.
Oh, he's stupid.
I mean, Mrs. Hilliard knew that she might have said something, but yeah, it's super dumb. I thought he was doing it, I kind of think, sort of part of his motive. Yeah, his money, yeah. But I thought part of his motive was that he was so devoted to Winstanley and her efforts to stop smugglers that he was sort of justifying it to himself that he was helping.
That's what I thought when I started the episode, because I knew he was the killer.
Yeah.
But no, it's just money.
Yeah.
He says it.
Yeah. And she clearly doesn't know the lengths that he's gone to. It's okay for him to seduce an old lady to get information out of her, but it's not okay for him to kill people.
Yeah.
That's just over the line.
Yep.
Apparently.
Best corpse of the episode.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Oh, wait, what?
You can't forget Brother Robert giving her eulogy at the funeral.
Okay, yes.
Because he knows her better than anybody. And when Stanley and Fong go off to Borneo to scatter her ashes.
Yes.
I was looking into international laws about ash scattering.
Yes.
And, you know, there are more laws about it than people think, right? Yeah. They think that they can just do it wherever they want to. You can't, obviously. But I read this awesome article called like 9 Things You Don't Know About Scattering Ashes.
Yeah.
That was written by a woman whose husband had died, and she decided to scatter his ashes around the world. And it's like 9 or 10 things that she learned from doing that. Like stand upwind.
Yeah.
Bring wet wipes because you'll have ashes all over you.
Yeah.
And don't put it in your checked luggage. So I don't know. They'd probably get arrested for doing it because that part of Borneo is a protected natural area,
yeah.
and that would be seen as pollution.
Yeah,
yeah. Best corpse, I go for Madeline.
Madeline has to win.
I mean, Plumber is a close second. But I go for Madeline.
Yeah.
And then after the credits.
Okay.
So when Stanley and Fong are going to go to Borneo.
Yep.
They're arm in arm, so, you know, and she's a goer, so.
Yep.
There's probably going to be some bonking.
Yep.
And he's got some experience from all these movies that he was in.
Yes.
You think Deborah Plummer is broke?
No, I think she has some money. She could sell that house for the very least.
True.
Because they didn't mortgage. He didn't. If he remortgaged that house for the $150,000.
That would be different. But we don't think he did.
If he did, like that's 1/10 of what that house is worth.
Maybe.
So she could easily sell the house and get that.
Yeah. Mrs. Hilliard and Feather are just sad.
I hope Mrs. Hilliard gets a first name.
I don't know. She married a wealthy landed gentry guy. Maybe she's not allowed to have a first name.
Maybe.
Who's going to take over the Orchid Society, Captain Tucker or Mrs. Maitland?
I think they both. And
because she appears to be a tough old broad. I don't think she's going to
search for purpose.
And they both search for first names.
Yes.
And that guy in the back is like, I don't even have a name at all. Nope. Can I get a name now?
Nope. I think Harry Rose is good.
Yeah, I think so too. He's still on parole, but I think, yeah, he'll keep on keeping on.
I think Brother Robert makes bootleg versions of that journal and sells them all over the ecclesiastical establishment.
Or publishes a romance novel under a nom de plume.
Yep.
Madame Roberta. We did it like dogs over and over with honey.
And wine.
Yes.
So you can find Midsomer Maniacs, Twitter, Instagram, and email, as well as midsummertravel.co.uk.
You're so funny.
We'll post on Facebook groups, Midsummer and Acorn, subreddit, anywhere else we find Maniac.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Bye, Maniacs. I just said it like Deborah Plummer.
Yes, you did. Next episode, number 39, episode 4 of season 8, Bantling Boy.
Horses.
I gotta say, I don't have high hopes for this episode.
Oh, there's some good stuff in there.
There is?
Oh, yeah, there's some gold. It's buried, but there's some gold.
Okay, because the 2 episodes after Bantling Boy are bonkers.
Epic.
Epic bonkers. Like, one of the episodes after Bantling Boy, I would say, might make top 10.
Oh, definitely.
Maybe top 5.
Definitely.
Of all time.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yep.
Be well. Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Wear a mask. Wash your hands.
Find something to laugh about.
Yes.
Even if you have to do it with your teeth together.
Don't fight each other.
Fight the virus.
Bye, Maniacs.
Bye, Maniacs.
Not for consumption. Why? Okay, so
let's have a glass of apocalypse.